Hello, brothers and sisters. This is part 2 of Shift 198, Final Days of Redemption and Great Deception. And what I want to do now is I want to recap on the video, on a part of the video I uploaded, part of the Shift 198. I want to do a recap for you on the woman who calls herself Dr. Arikana Chiambre. And what I'd like to do is give you a little more information on the situation involving the brothers and sisters formerly known as Jews in the now designated into the now designation of African and black, those individuals that we call the African Americans in America. And, you know, many individuals, they are not only afraid to admit that the individuals calling themselves Jews in this psychological operation that we call modern civilization. But let me ask you a question. Have you ever heard of the saying, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, we live in a society where there are black Jews and there are white Jews. There are melanated people who are called black. And of course, they acknowledge that they are Jews. And of course, you have Gentiles who are calling themselves Jews. Now, I want to take a moment to open your mind to the depth of truth that and many people across the earth, I'm sure, are in the awareness of. And what I'd like to do is ask you this question. Between the melanated Jews and the European Jews, they're both claiming to be children of the Most High. Translated, the middle co-creative Christ, yang conscious, high and low vibrational aspect of the electromagnetic frequency division of our Trinity. Okay, children of the Most High, as they are called in the Bible. But the reality is only one of them can truly be Jews. Now, we all are aware of the reality that the Gentile nations came out of melanated genetics. Now, two people who have been newly designated with the name African or black, they do have the capacity to birth an albino child, as they've also birthed all the Gentile nations. But two Gentiles do not have the capacity to birth a melanated individual. Think about that. Two European men and women do not have the capacity to birth an African child or a Jewish individual. But two Jewish individuals do have the capacity to not only create a European species, but they also have the capacity to create something even a gene species with even less melanin than the Europeans. Now, I don't mean to ruffle any of your feathers, brothers and sisters, but just as Santa Claus is not real, just as the Easter Bunny is not real, just as all of the holidays that you've been celebrating have no place in the reality of your Jewish field frequency of nine-dimensional conscious awareness, being the co-creator of this, our Trinity's lowest division, called our Matrix program. Neither are Jews European. Now, if you choose to go on in delusion, that's neither here nor there. That's your business. But I will have you know this: the days of deception are over. Now, brothers and sisters, what I'd like to do is read you just a few words here in respect to this woman calling herself Dr. Arikana Tiambre. And the video that, of course, she uploaded earlier today in regards to the European, the Gentile colonial powers that have transgenerationally been sourcing, mining all of your resources, and especially the resource of your negative transfer of energy. Okay, so here we are. I have my receipts. I'm big on receipts, aren't I? They're 19 keys. And Rashad Jamal and Billy Carson and all the rest of you psychopaths. I'm calling you a psychopath until you stop your attempt at deceiving the world with all of your co-conspiratorial deception. Okay? None of your strategies have worked, and none of them will work. All right? Please wrap your mind around that, because very soon you're going to have no opportunity to do an about face. And by the way, I want to say something to you, R.C. Blakes. I see you just uploaded another video that you have post-dated for a year ago that was just made probably a few hours ago, called, When You Talk Too Much. Now, I understand there, R.C., that you are attempting to play a part in maintaining all of the chaos that exists in the human race. However, RC, what I need you to understand is this: your belief system, all the scriptures that you're reading from, RC, my Jewish anti-middle co-creative Christ conscious low vibrational aspect of awareness, what I'd like to say to you is that those scriptures that you're reading, those scriptures were written at a time after, thousands of years after our fall in conscious awareness, conscious contribution, and our degrade in electromagnetic manifest potential began. Okay? Furthermore, Luke, John, those are all European names. They are names that are delegated to Gentiles. They're not delegated to you and your people. So when you want to present yourself as someone who is representing the truth. When you want to present yourself as someone who has the capacity to bring peace to the world and steer the perception of your people into a direction that will keep them just as helpless as it has kept them, calling it a place of comfort and safety, I'm going to let you know that what you're doing is bringing your people, steering their perception into greater dysfunction with your chaos content. Please wrap your mind around that before you continue making more videos that have as much value as the Jewish nations being called African and Egyptian and black. Now, brothers and sisters, this is what I'd like to read to you. I don't want to spend any more time discussing Mr. Blake's because it's a waste of time, especially in this, the day of redemption, in the age of Aquarius, the age of enlightenment. So after this car goes by, I'll begin. "136 years ago, at the Berlin Conference in the year 1844 to 1845, Gentiles gave sovereignty to the Jewish nation over in formerly known Elkebulon, okay, newly renamed Africa. All right. Of course, during this process, they also set into motion a plan to not only scramble the languages, but they also decided to implement a process of scrambling the frequency of the high and low vibrational, the frequency aspects of the melanated man and woman's conscious contribution capacity. And that scrambling of frequencies now exists in America and around the world in our democratic processes that maintain our capitalist, democratic class caste systems. Everyone's frequency is scrambled and no one understands the true value of their identity, and women who are the high vibrational aspect of counterbalancing aspect of your pre-programmed conscious collective, and men who are the low vibrational aspect of the Gentile conscious collective, no matter if it's an Arab nation, an Indian nation, a European nation, or an Asian nation. The value of the field of conscious potential has been flipped around. So women are seen as bad and men are seen as good. Okay? Same thing goes on here in America. The women are seen as witches and the men are seen and viewed as the individuals, the only individuals who can save them from the curse of being a witch. And the reason why they are being called witches, by the way, or Eves, who influenced Adam to bite into the apple, is because of the reality that we live in a society, and of course, the societies that maintain the capitalist democratic processes and class caste systems, these societies are controlled by individuals who have a very limited connection to our Trinity. In other words, these individuals define their identity as flesh beings, when in reality, this is a spiritual reality. There's a couple people walking by, and you're gonna hear their voices in a moment, so please overlook the background noise. Well, of course, the Gentiles set out to scramble the language and scramble the frequencies, okay? Now, after Jews, African kings sold the high vibrational middle co-creative Christ yang conscious high and low vibrational frequency aspects to Europe to advance the rebalancing protocol, as they knew long before the Gentiles came that they would one day have to do. After that happened, we, of course, after the process of being integrated into the European three-dimensional conscious awareness, five sensory aware, psychosocial, geopolitical, religious, scientific, judicial, class caste system, after that had taken place, and of course, we became normalized to our everyday activities that we presently, indulge in, like eating meat and barbecues, and defining each other's value by what we have in our pocket and our looks, the looks of our finite avatars. After that, during the 1950s and 60s, there was a pact in Africa. It was the pact for the continuation of colonization. Now this, of course, Chiambre does not explain this to you. However, I will explain it to you, okay? This was meant to influence Africans into believing they now had independence, okay? It was a pact made between African, formerly identified as Jews, and Gentile co-conspirators of the hijacking of the rebalancing protocol, Gentile low vibrational aspect, three-dimensional conscious awareness, five sensory depth perception, corporate hive mind heads, between those kings and the corporate hive mind heads, to advance on one side. Let's say that side is the Jekyll side, okay, of the rebalancing conscious control that, of course, is attempting to force us all into an electric currency system, which is the total opposite of our standard electromagnetic manifest survival model that we, as the Most High's chosen people, once survived by. So let's say the Jekyll aspect. To advance on one side, the pre-programmed rebalancing protocol by way of transgenerationally bringing the collective conscious, the collective nine-dimensional conscious awareness in its electromagnetically misaligned state into a three-dimensional conscious awareness, five sensory and depth perception, non-electromagnetic, psychosocial, psychosocioeconomic, geopolitical, religious, judicial, mechanical environment. While on the other side, on the Hyde side, Jekyll and Hyde, okay? While on the Hyde side, advance the Gentile low vibrational aspect, corporate hive mind, hijacking conspiracy to override the rebalancing protocol and mechanically by TV programming and conditioning to non-electromagnetic identity and survival model by making machines, gold, diamonds, and minerals in their collective minds, that would be the Jews, in their collective minds, more valuable than their infinite identity and conversion capacity by electromagnetism, while through geopolitical economic control, forcing migration, sourcing their transgenerational intelligence so as to invert their electromagnetic manifest potential and their middle co-creative Christ, yang conscious, high and low vibrational aspect, collective consciousnesses capacity to be restored, to their rightful place in their consciousness created, consciousness controlled, co-created matrix program, and supplant it with artificial intelligence, virtual, augmented reality, and electronic currency. Now, I know, brothers and sisters, that was a lot to take in. And I do understand that what you just heard is quite compelling, but you haven't heard all of it yet. Coming up on the Worldwide Paradigm Shift Show, we're going to go deeper into the landscape of your mind so that you have an opportunity to take your rightful place in this, your co-created matrix program. Brought to you by the High Council of the Order of the Crystal Keys, our very real and authentic Trinity's most high conscious divisions, angelic empire. I want to thank you very much for joining me this evening once again, and prepare over the next few days to get the next few uploads. We're going to be shooting out videos for the most part every other day, every other day. So tell everyone you know to tune in to the Worldwide Paradigm Shift Show, because you don't want to miss what you are going to hear. I want to thank you once again for your time, and namaste.